What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. And a quick question. Has there been any developments today, anywhere in the rumor mill, anywhere in the transfer market, anywhere in the news regarding Manchester United? I don't know. You guys tell me. But this is Man United News Roundup. We guys do this throughout the summer, throughout the year. As the big news of the week pops up, we will stop by to get your thoughts. Really, this is your channel. I'm here for you guys. I just throw the topics out there and let you guys kind of facilitate things. But if you're new to the channel, that's the way it works. If you're not new to the channel, then you know how it works. It is what it is. But we are talking the latest rumors and news. I'm excited to hear your thoughts, your opinions, and all of that. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, big Benjamin Sesko news. That's obviously, you guys caught my short earlier. I'm starting to look at these shorts like they're like a little bit of a trailer for the news roundup to come later on in the day. So that's what we're here to talk about. But like the video, please subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 3K. So again, a couple weeks left. If we do get to 3K before the season starts, I will do a giveaway. I don't care if you got to make up some bots. Get the 3K, we'll do the giveaway. Otherwise, we'll make another milestone maybe for January. So until then, let's dive in, you guys. Let me get caught up on these chat. Let me look at this chat and see what you guys are saying here. Who's involved today? Nubis Kubas, welcome back, buddy. How you doing? I don't know. Maybe United bought the CMs that you recommended. Maybe. Wouldn't that be great? Yes, if you guys saw yesterday, we did do a deep dive kind of center midfield hidden gems, and I ended that stream on my pick of the litter. So go ahead and watch that one if you guys haven't yet. It's how half a dozen quality center midfielders, under the radar, physical, good ball progression. Young, I think the oldest one was 23. So go check that video out as well. And if you haven't yet done so, a couple weeks ago, we did some striker videos as well. Go check those out. But yes, maybe they'll buy. I doubt it, though. But we'll see, man. Sanjay, big up, Sanjay. Where are you at today, Sanjay? Sanjay is like Carmen Sandiego, for those of you who are old enough to remember what that is. It's just, where in the world is Sanjay? It's like a new segment we're going to play on the channel. Where in the world is Sanjay? But welcome back, you guys. Dabasi, big up Dabasi. Heard he has left RB to decide where he goes, as he has accepted financial terms from both the clubs. Yeah, there's all sorts of rumors popping off today. I'm thinking some of it's agent stuff. I'm thinking some of it is club briefings to try to make it sound like, a club doesn't look bad. Again, sometimes with these rumors and the way things are worded and stuff, it's always helpful to maybe ask the question, who benefits from from this rumor, from this story, kind of a thing. So there's a lot to pick apart. There's a lot to dissect. Nick, welcome back, Nick. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So we'll start off real quick. Just a little teaser. We did get an update from Omar Barada regarding Carrington. Obviously, Carrington was being renovated. Big project. The men's team had to get moved out. They took over the women's training facilities, which not cool, but apparently, according to Omar Barada, Carrington will be ready to go on Friday this week. So first team back where they belong, getting new, revamped, renovated Carrington. We saw mock-ups and things. Reportedly, like we spoke about the other day, Amorim has been kind of letting people chill. He's not running these 2-a-days like Ten Hag used to do. But now the newly revamped Carrington's got a lot of space for, interacting, lounging. Not that they're all just sitting around kicking their feet up, but just time for people to interact and really just hang out together. So Sanjay was in the Netherlands for 6 days. Big up, Sanjay. Welcome back, though, man. Safe travels. So let's dive into why everyone's here, shall we? Because we got the big news today from David Ornstein. I reported it from Build earlier. I didn't report it, but I shared that I'd first seen it in Build when I spoke about in the short earlier. But then everybody's been picking up on it. So this is what Ornstein had to say. United make offer to RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. Proposal 75 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons reflects United's valuation, and they believe striker favors Old Trafford. No reply yet from RB Leipzig. So that was as of like an hour ago. No reply as of yet. That's a lot. So 85 million altogether. So that takes the total package to just under 74 million pounds for Benjamin Sesko. And this was coming, and this is what was had to say on this earlier as well. So this is coming off the back of yesterday's news that Newcastle have sent an official bid to RB Leipzig for Sesko worth 90 million euros package. So 80 million plus 10 million. So just a little more than we've offered by about 5 million or so. No decision yet from Sesko as of that point. But again, as you see down here from Romano, United confirmed again to Leipzig they will bid if Sesko pits them. So no decision yet from the player. United again to RB Leipzig. If he does choose us, we will make a bid. So what does that mean? Does that mean like if we wouldn't make a move, if we wouldn't put a bid in until Sesko chose us, does that mean that he's made his choice? Basically, I guess that means he's chosen United. And then if you recall too, why some people are wondering why is this bid lower? What are we thinking? Why don't we just match it? Or again, Romano said this the other day as well. I think this was from last week. Apparently, there's a gentleman agreement between Sesko and Leipzig. The price tag for limited clubs could be reduced to 70 to 80 million plus 5 to 10 million add-ons. So right about what we were doing. This is only valid for a few clubs considered special by Sesko, though. So that is maybe why that the price that we put in is a little lower. Again, but then again, we've all seen these gentlemen's agreements and with Gyökeres and whatnot and how those have worked out in the past. So we'll see if this goes a little more smoothly than the other saga with a striker. Big up Gamer TV, big up UVE community. Please like and subscribe. Yes, please do like and subscribe to the channel. If you guys are new, we are on the road to 3K. It gets you closer to that giveaway. Don't forget, too, brand new designs in the UVE store. Now, the 20% off sale ended over the weekend, but there's still brand new designs, and none of it is super expensive right now. So, but go check those out as well. So, that was all the big news over the last week or so combined, starting with obviously today's news, which is what brings us here. I will leave this up on the screen for you guys. Danny, big up. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Danny, how many Mamadou Sangare compilations did you go watch last night after that center midfielder stream, man? Let me know. So again, all reports said we wouldn't make a move unless Benjamin Sesko made it clear that he wants to join United. So again, that probably means that that's what it is, and that's why we can afford to go in with a lower offer, not only because if he wants us, it is what it is, but if there's a gentleman's agreement, like Romano said, that he'll be able to go for less for certain clubs that he deems special, then we don't have to pay what Newcastle are paying. It's still a lot, in my opinion, to pay for Benjamin Sesko personally, even if it is less than Newcastle's bid. But again, 38% of you, we did a poll on the community tab on the page maybe it was yesterday. 38% of you in that poll voted that we would get Sesko, but we wouldn't have to pay as much as Newcastle. So 38% of you, spot on. Give yourselves a big pat on the back there. The majority of you thought that he wouldn't do that, though. So big up, guys. We did, I guess, at the end of the day, we needed a striker. A lot of you guys say we need a striker. I still have doubts over Sesko kind of being the answer in that regard. And I think that, again, I wouldn't necessarily needed a top-tier striker. Obviously, with both Victors going to their respective clubs, there was no more top-tier strikers. But with the Cunha and Mbeumo coming in, goal scorers, top tier wasn't necessarily, obviously you want top tier, but the problem is why we're paying top tier price for, tier 3, maybe striker right now. No offense. It's just, it is what it is. So it is a lot. He could do well, of course. I mean, you guys know what I said the other day, like he wouldn't have been my first choice. I definitely don't want to pay a lot. Same with Watkins, but I will back him if he comes, and we'll want him to score goals. I just haven't seen enough from Sesko over the last couple of years to convince me. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, go check out that video we did last week on Sesko or Watkins. We did a deep dive look at both players, since those were the two strikers that we've been very heavily linked with these last few weeks. Deep dive on numbers, percentiles, heat maps, profile, play style, all that. Go check out that video if you haven't yet done so. Nubis says, does that mean Arsenal wasn't that special club? I mean, are Arsenal ever really a special club? Probably not. So, but it's interesting stuff. So again, timeline of the events. Newcastle made a bid, not answered yet. United informed Leipzig, we will make a bid if Sesko chooses us. United, make a bid. And remember, we found out last week too that there is a gentleman's agreement between Sesko and Leipzig that if a special clubs that he's deemed special makes a bid, he's allowed to leave for less. So gentlemen's agreements these days sort of seem like the obligation to buy. It doesn't really seem like it means a whole lot these days, but hey, it is what it is. Get it in writing. Danny says, I was so bollocks, didn't check Sangare out. No problem, man. I always just curious, just because it's funny. I had so many, I posted last night, or maybe it was this morning, like a couple of the screenshots from the Sangari part of that video last night, and had a bunch of these Malian football fans retweeting it and liking it and stuff. So it was pretty funny. So again, I'm big in Mali, so we can say that. Hopefully, if there's anyone watching from Mali, anybody new on the subscriber list, join in the UVE community. Let me know what our thoughts are on that. Did I get that one right or not? Time will tell, but we'll see. So it's interesting stuff. It does sort of feel like heading into the summer, the priority was tackling the goal scoring issue. Obviously, the lack of goals last year was a huge issue for us. We just couldn't get the job done. We were creating chances, we're getting into good positions, and just everybody seemed to shit the bed all at the same time. Zirkzee getting injured, he's not really a prolific goal scorer. Højlund, huge form drop off a cliff last season. Confidence looked shot, struggled to adapt to a different sort of role. Kind of thing. Garnacho, hot and cold. It's what you're going to get from a youngster, but I don't know how much longer we can call him a youngster. He's starting to get into Lingard territory where he's 28 or something, and we're going to be like, he's got a lot of potential, that kid. And then Cheeto, obviously not very old. So it was up to like Bruno. Ahmad was doing it for a while. Then he got that long-term injury as well. So we struggled last year. Cunha and Bumo, they definitely tick boxes. Remember, combined last year in the league, those two scored just like 9 fewer goals than we did as a club last year. So that to me does tick a box. It does help us out. But it definitely seems like with those two in mind, United went into this summer and probably Amorim was like, listen, we need to buy goals, basically. And that's what we did. I was like, attack. We went at that hard this summer. And then, I mean, when it came to screwing Newcastle over, we woke up and chose violence this summer. It was kind of like we just were waiting to see what Newcastle would do. And then we're like, nah, we'll have that. Cunha, Mbumo, Sesko. We just decided to make Newcastle our bitches this year. And that's just what we did, I guess. So we'll see what happens. I just, Sesko better score some fucking goals, because 13 goals in the league last season in the Bundesliga is not worth 73 million. I mean, we paid more than that, for Sancho, but we saw what translated from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. It is a big step up physically, intense, tempo-wise. It is a big step up. You're facing a lot high presses. You're facing a lot of fast-paced kind of things. You need to be more physical. And I wonder, we haven't had great luck when it comes to Bundesliga attackers. The last several we signed, obviously, we're not here very long. Looking at Kagawa, looking at Mkhitaryan, looking at Sancho. These guys weren't here very long, or they just didn't work out. I hope it goes differently for Sesko. I really do. He's really going to need to convince me that, he's the answer. And so I'm not going to be one of these people, these United fans who, if he doesn't score like a hat trick or 10 goals by the time Christmas rolls around, I'm going to freak out. But I'm just, from what we saw from him in the past, I'm not expecting 20 goals in the league, but I could be wrong. It just is what it is. So the add-ons are reportedly super achievable, according to Romano, something simple as like appearances or goals or something. And so we'll see what happens there. Again, I don't worry too much about some add-ons. Now, the appearances one is a little bit iffy, but typically the add-ons, when they're not the easily achievable ones, it means that you're doing well. It means a player's doing well. It means a team is doing well. So I'm not going to fuss too much about those sort of add-ons, but at least there's not like a Ballon d'Or clause or something. So that's awesome. Big up, Darkro. Good to see you again, my friend. But what do you think this means for Højlund? Does Højlund stay and compete, get and rotate like he said he would following that match the other day? Does he leave? Does he maybe get flummoxed by this and say, well, if they're not backing me, I think I'm better than this guy, I'm going to go someplace else? Maybe that happens? Does that leave us with Sesko, Zirkzee, Cheeto, basically? Or maybe we saw the other day Leipzig, according to Fabrizio Romano, asked for Højlund in exchange in cash for Sesko. Could Højlund be out the door? If we've just made a bid and Højlund wasn't involved, then probably not. But it's interesting stuff. Nubis says, honestly, I just don't see Sesko scoring many goals next season. He's more like a playmaker striker than a pure striker. Yeah, Leipzig have done a lot of different things these last couple of years. Last year, they definitely had kind of a front two, Openda, Sesko kind of interchanging, kind of like what you see from a midfield pivot. One goes forward, one kind of holds up. One player would maybe win those long balls, win those through balls, and then serve as like an anchor or a link up and feed the other. And sometimes the other player would run. Openda basically lives offside. I don't know if you guys ever watched him. The guy is just constantly offside. He's rapid, but he's constantly offside. more so than Rashford. And so Sesko is definitely, he's got pace. He's good on the ball. He's good in the air. He's strong. But he's just not scoring as many goals. So I wonder if maybe the shift to, and I talked about this in that video I did the other week. I wonder if the shift to the front two kind of took away some of that a little bit. It's not, who knows? It's up to you guys. You guys let me know. Darko says, how excited should we get? I mean, I guess it depends on how highly you rate Sesko, Darko. Of course, he's here potentially. If not, I speak like he's already signed. If we sign him, I'll back him. He's not one that fills me with a ton of, like, if we had signed like Vangelis Pavlidis, for instance, I would probably be more excited about that than I am about Sesko. But again, that's just me. I would probably have been more excited about signing like Rogadere for 25 million than about Sesko. And it doesn't mean I don't rate Sesko. I just rate the other players a little more, and the price is a little different. Allocate a little bit more money towards a midfielder and some. So we'll see how it goes. But he better score some goals. That's all I'm going to say. We'll give him some time, but that's a lot of money to lay out for a young player who's not exactly super prolific. So I just hope we don't neglect the midfield entirely before this window shuts. I think that would leave us in a worse off position. We've seen how vulnerable we are. It takes literally one pass to cut through our midfield and get the ball into our area. When we do still look vulnerable, Billy was texting me. I was either last night or this morning. I don't know what time it was. About the defense. Defense is shaky, and I told him, yeah, we just look vulnerable with these balls into the box. And it doesn't help that Dalot doesn't close down the attacker. It doesn't help that Shaw just kind of backs off. It doesn't help that nobody's attacking these balls into the air. We got really lucky on this preseason tour that some of these balls that were flashed across the face of goal, nobody got on the end of, but we do look vulnerable at that. And so we need to get better at that, because when you're that easy to play through midfield and then your defense looks that weak against balls in the box, it doesn't bode well. So maybe we're just trying to outscore everybody these days. Hey, if you score 2, we'll score 3 kind of a mentality. No idea. Darker, I hope we're not neglecting it, man. That's my point, man. I do not want us to neglect that. Let me go see if there's any updates popping up on here. Let's see. Not seeing any updates, everybody. So nothing update here. So we'll see. Mark Harris, welcome. Why doesn't Amorim play Kone? Why is Luke Shaw playing in the field in 2025? Why is Amorim? There's a lot of questions there. The Kone one is a little interesting, just mostly because he was supposed to go on loan, right, to Lausanne Sport, and then we got those reports a couple of weeks ago that loan was kind of put on hold because he was impressing Amorim and the coaching staff in training, so they kept him around, but he hasn't really played since. And so I'm very confused because he needs to play. He's not like young. He's not like Harry Amos young. I think what is Kone, like 2021? He should be playing. He was playing first team football in Mali when we bought him, so it wasn't like he was playing in some academy. I'm not saying Malian first team football is the same as Premier League first team football, no offense, but there's levels. So I think Kone, he should probably go on loan. I just don't know if Lausanne Sport is the level he should be going on loan to. I think he could go someplace League One, maybe Championship, maybe even at Nice, utilize that other sister club a little bit, that other club we own, and maybe help him out there, put him on a bigger stage. I'm just checking for any updates while we're doing this. I do not see any sort of updates on anything, so we are going to move on. Samu, yes, Samu was featured in my video the day. Now, Samu's had a good season. He's still very young. Reportedly, remember we spoke about the other day that Porto were maybe open to like a bit of like a 55 million price tag. So you guys know how I feel about young players, though. I need to see more than a year to convince me, especially when the price tag is pretty high. But I do like Samu a lot. He's a pretty good player. Nuba says, all the opponents have to do next season is to pressure those double pivot players, and United will crumble. Don't have a press-resistant CM. Cobby's a little press-resistant. He's probably the most press-resistant we have, because Bruno tends to just kind of go the Grealish route and just draw the foul and take the foul. Bruno will put his body in front of anything just to draw the foul. Cobby's very press-resistant, but he's still young. Probably shouldn't. I wouldn't want to start Cobby week in, week out at this point. We saw the other day, and we'll talk about this a little more in a little while, but Ugarte is not convincing me right now. He had an absolute shocker of a second half, so we'll come back to that. Casemiro, I don't think has ever been super press resistant. Collier, jury's out. So it's interesting, but Darko, yeah, I don't know if anybody said anything about updates, man. I've just looked real quick a couple times while we're live. I don't see any updates on anything. So, but you guys let me know if there's actually been any legitimate updates on any of this stuff yet, because so far, so nothing. So, let's move on here. So again, I hope we don't neglect the midfield. Clearly, though, we've rattled Newcastle with all this. Have you guys seen the reports that came out this morning that they left Matt Target in South Korea? They pulled a Home Alone on Matt Target, man. They just left him there. He's just in his hotel room like, I made my teammates disappear. I made my teammates disappear. He's going to be setting some traps for some burglars and whatnot. The wet bandits are going to come find him. It's so ridiculous, man. And I also wonder what this means for Newcastle, like in terms of Isak too. So if they're bidding for Sesko, that probably means Isak just wants to leave, right? And so now this puts Newcastle in a tough position. You know, they lost Cunha, they lost out on Buemo, they could lose out on Sesko. Isak wants to leave. Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we? Again, kind of like Villa, not my club, not my problem, but at the same time, you wonder a little bit about what's going on with them. Mark Harris, so Onana's number one. Lamin's talk fizzled out. Yeah, I'm not. You guys know I'm not a fan of Onana anymore. I gave him time. I was at that Galatasaray match 2 years ago for Champions League and got a first-hand view of the gaffe that led to the pen. It was just he's just so bad. And like you say, Mark, he costs us more than he helps us. He's a net negative now, Onana, and I think that, like we've spoken about many times, this concept of the O principle. It says like your detriments, your shortcomings as a player will multiply. They don't just simply stack up, they multiply because of the fact that they impact other players who then have to kind of take away from their game to compensate for yours. So Onana being so hesitant, so weak, so clumsy now is causing second guessing and doubts in his defenders, because now where they might normally be confident in a keeper coming off their line, now they've all got to just drop back to maybe handle stuff that Onana just can't handle. And it impacts everybody because now there's space in the midfield between that, or space between the center backs and like the wing backs now that maybe otherwise wouldn't have been there. You know, it's just, he costs us way more than he helps us, Onana. And just, yes, we got him because he's decent on the ball when you're building out from the back, but I really could not care less about that when it comes to being a goalkeeper. Just make saves, command your area, bare minimum for me. Anything more than that is a bonus. So let's see what y'all are saying. But big up, Mark. Nubis says everyone is screwing Newcastle this summer. They only got two players that know. I mean, they got Anthony Elanga, and then they got Anthony Elanga, and they still ended up helping us when they did that. So they paid more for Elanga probably because of the sell-on clause that we inserted into his transfer to Forest. So Newcastle, man, I feel for Eddie Howe. Somehow they still, punch above their weight every season. I don't know how. I mean, they do have very good side. Their midfield is very good, but I just wonder, man. I wonder Brentford, Newcastle, Villa, even this year. Villa can't get some help in their team. They're going to be struggling. So it is what it is, man. Darko, is Ugarte just not good enough? He has, I feel like we've seen it in flashes, a little bit of press resistance, a little bit of ball progression. He just doesn't look good. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little later on, Darko. So sticking with strikers for a bit, I'll leave the Sesko image up there for a while if people want to trickle in and get their thoughts. And speaking of strikers, though, did you see this bit from TalkSport about Nicholas Jackson apparently being offered around to different clubs, including Manchester United? I think Newcastle and AC Milan were mentioned as well. Reportedly, and this is the part that's hilarious, reportedly Chelsea want $80 million for Nicholas Jackson. But they'll also be generous and they'll accept a loan with an obligation if that's offered as well. So thank you, Chelsea. Dude, seriously, Chelsea, you can fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. Putting aside the fact that Nicholas Jackson's not even worth half of that, $80 million for Jackson after you pretty much told everybody without using words that you don't rate him by bringing in Liam Delap and João Pedro in one window. That's an absolute piss take to ask for $80 million at that point. Like, that's embarrassing. You want to make a huge profit on someone that you don't want and who you've already replaced with two other players. seriously, fuck off. Honestly, at this point with Chelsea, I wish nobody would buy their players. I wish everybody would just boycott Chelsea so they just continue to dig themselves into a hole till they run out of hotels or women's team to sell to themselves. People just need to do this because the more people refuse to help Chelsea out and buy their players and give them funds, the more likely it is they're going to face bans and fines and whatnot, and maybe not even be able to register players. Like I don't care if you need a player, if you want a player, just don't help Chelsea out. They'll get chalked off the list of rivals if you just refuse to help them, and they get done by PSR or by the league or whatever. It's freaking annoying how people are just like, yeah, let's give them money, man. Mark says, I can only see 2 points from the first 5 games. United need another 6 players minimum. Amorim may hang out to dry. Nah, I don't think Amorim is going anywhere, honestly. We talked about this a couple times. Like, rebuilds take time. A big priority this summer was clearing out the squad. People don't confuse. We don't have quality in different positions with we don't have players in these, because we have a lot of players in a lot of positions. Now we have a lot of wing backs, a lot of center backs, a lot of midfielders. We didn't have a ton of strikers going into this, but we have a ton of players. We have to get rid of some of these, and it takes time. It just does. And it's not going to be an overnight process. Like I said, Pep didn't even win a single thing his first season at City. Arsenal are going on a 5-year winless drought almost. Liverpool took 4 years to even start challenging. And people forget, Klopp came in mid-season at Liverpool that season, went to a Europa League final and lost too, just like Amorim did. And so I think that it's important to keep things in context. Again, Amorim, he's got to be backed. And part of that is getting, like what we've seen with Rashford, Garnacho, and whatnot. Like, we don't want these guys around. He's getting some players in now. We'll see. He's got a preseason. Remember, this is his first preseason. I don't see him going anywhere because I don't see it both ways. We can't say that he's not been backed and then think that Ineos will sack him, because it doesn't make sense to sack somebody when you don't back them. This isn't Spurs, right? It's just not good. But he's got to do better this season. I think that it's time to stop tinkering with the sides and figuring out what your best players are. We should know by now. Should know. Don't need to keep doing that. He needs to get results, find a way to his team selection still worries me sometimes. And so I would complain about that on the Europa League final as well. So just because I say I don't see him going where, it doesn't mean he also doesn't have, a bit of responsibility and accountability for what happened last year. And so everybody shares the responsibility. Everybody owns up to their role in that. And Amorim is going to have to learn that this is not sporting anymore. You can't, not only is the competition a little bit more intense, but it's not patient. You have to do something. It's a rare thing for managers who can get a lot out of a little. Fergie was probably one of the only ones I can think of who's do that. And you can argue maybe Eddie Howe as well in some regard, but like Pep doesn't do that. Jurgen Klopp doesn't do that. I mean, it just is what it is. Some managers just need the best players to do their job, and it is what it is. But Amorim's got work to do too. It's not all on him. Mark says there's a lot of shit left. Shaw, Mount, Dallo, Bruno, Maguire, Onana, Højlund. But that's another thing. Like, yeah, I can say one of the big things we had to do was clear the deadwood, right? But it's not that easy. So I've seen a lot of people on social media complaining, like, why are we not selling players? There's all these charts going up about how much clubs have spent versus how much they've made this summer, and we haven't really made a lot. But it's not easy to sell players, especially when they're not good. They're on high wages, or like they just don't want to take pay cuts, or clubs don't want to pay what we want for them. It's not a video game. We can't just say add to transfer list and then wait for the offers to roll in. It's just not that simple. The big part of that is not on Ineos. The big part of that is the fact that guys like Sancho, Rashford, Antony, they're on big wages. And that was the previous regime that did that. That had nothing to do with these guys. Overpaying for Højlund, previous regime, not on Ineos. So we and Amorim and Ineos have to deal with a lot of that stuff. You can argue we probably overpaid a little for Ugarte, but it is what it is at this point with Ugarte. But a lot of it is just no foresight, no just reaction, knee-jerk stuff in the transfer market for years with no plan, no structure, no bollocks really when it came to kind of setting some boundaries for prices and wages. And we're suffering for it now. Everybody was happy to kick the can down the road when it came to the board and recruitment structure. And now, Ineos and Amorim have to pick it up. And it's just, we have to stop kicking it at some point, and it just is what it is. So, but I hear you. It is frustrating. There is a lot of players that I would sell. Dallo, Shaw for sure. Bruno, I go back and forth on Bruno because like that money was really difficult to turn down, but at the same time, you can't argue that the guy is class. So what are we going to do? Hoyland, we're only going to sell Hoyland if we can make money because we can't take a PSR hit. It just can't happen right now. So, but yeah, I don't buy Chelsea players, please, because we don't want to help Chelsea out. Speaking of that, the Garnacho to Chelsea saga kind of rolls on. But what reminded me of this today, because there hasn't been any updates on Garnacho to Chelsea today, but did you see David Ornstein's report from earlier this morning regarding Tyler Dibbling? So apparently Southampton want 40 million plus 5 million in add-ons for Dibbling, and they want a 25% sell-on. But I saw that Everton were trying to get him and they weren't able to match that price. And so now reportedly Everton are moving on, but 40 plus 5 for Tyler Dibbling with a 25% sell-on. So if Dibbling is worth up to 45 million potentially, Chelsea also paid 55 million for Gittins, then surely Garnacho's got to be at minimum 55 million plus add-ons, right? If not more. Like, again, we'll go by what Chelsea paid for Mudryk, go by what they paid for Bino Gittins. Look at what these other players are going for other clubs. Elanga, the Newcastle, 55 million. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. And so that's just, we can't be bent over anymore. Yes, Garnacho represents a lot of profit, but we have to make sure that we're getting a decent price. I do not want to see Garnacho walk out the door for like 30 million. That would be an absolute, he needs to go for at least twice that, like total. Like that's ridiculous. So Chelsea can fuck off. Again, the theme of today is Chelsea can fuck off, apparently. We could get a little bit more walking around money this summer, though, albeit from yet another sell-on clause. So Ben Jacobs reported today that Al Nassr want Mason Greenwood to replace Jean Duran this summer. Doesn't seem like Marseille want to lose Greenwood, though. He likes it there. He's doing well there. They love him there. He's performing. Remember, though, the walking around money from sell-on, we have a 50% sell-on clause with Mason Greenwood wherever he goes. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, it's a big move to a Saudi club and we get a big chunk of that back. I mean, that could be like almost, we can get like 40 million to 50 million this summer just from sell-on clauses alone between Alvaro and Elanga. And now this, like, that's a big deal. Let's see. Nuba says, is Bruno really a class at CM position? For me, he is world-class at number 10. At 8, not so much. I get scared every time he attempts those Hollywood passes and they get intercepted. Yeah, he is gonna give away the ball a lot, but a lot of the top creative players do that. De Bruyne does that a lot. Messi used to be the top in Europe when it came to giving away possession. Basically, you're going to see that a lot from the better players. It just is what it is. Yes, Bruno's natural position is not an 8 or a 6 for sure. He's not, but we all knew that if we were signing Cunha, we were signing Mbumo, and if those two were starting, Bruno's going to be in that deep lying role. It just is what it is. So it is preseason, so I'm not going to read too much into anything that we've seen so far. But we know that Bruno can do it. We know that he's done it. We've looked at his numbers at both when he's played 10 and when he's played in the pivot, and he's stacked up very well against the other 5 leagues in terms of center midfielder. So he's not bad. Is it his natural position? No, but he's not bad there. So, but I hear it all the way. Lucky, welcome back. We wasted 75 million on this. Ridiculous. Absolutely not, Mark. I would not take Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is one of the most overrated footballers I've ever seen in my life. What is it with these these wingers, these Grealish, these Sanchos, these Rashfords, like the Sterlings? They're not that great. Like Grealish could probably go to like Saudi or I guess there's no alcohol there, so that's out. Maybe he could go to Napoli. I don't know, but Grealish is not good, man. Agile says it's all falling apart at Newcastle. Welcome back at Agile. Yes, it is falling apart. We've just been taking everybody they're going after and just swiping them. We're kind of like Chelsea. We're like the new Chelsea. Remember when everybody was looking at different players like Arsenal were linked to Mudryk, Chelsea snatched them up. We were linked to the lap, Chelsea snatched. It was like we're like taking the Chelsea route here. No updates as far as Sesko is concerned. I'll check that here and there. But welcome back, Agile. Good to see you again. So, not a whole lot of transfer news as of yet, other than the big Sesko news today. Let's pivot a little bit and talk about this this friendly against Everton the other day to wrap up the Premier League summer series. So make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you are new, you guys. Check out the memberships as well. Don't forget too, I keep forgetting to mention it. There's a little code in the video description towards the bottom. And if you go to GoGoalShop, which is where I've gotten a couple of jerseys, and register using that code, you will get $5 off. So keep that in mind too. If you look, they've got new kits for the season. They've got the baseball one, like the red pinstripe baseball shirt, the United shirt. I don't know if you guys have seen that. They've got this year's home and away, both in fan and authentic. So go check those out if you guys want to. And $5 off when you use that code. Check it out. So Nuba says, I wonder if Amorim is going to get blamed for insisting to keep Bruno when that 100 million could be used to sign someone like Baleba. Well, again, Bruno didn't want to go. So again, I think people forget the player does have a say-so in this. Like, if Bruno didn't want to go and he wanted to stay, you can't just get rid of him. Like, that's not going to work. So I think that Bruno will be here for at least another year. And I think, remember, that was one of the options we talked about, because even in a year, a Saudi club can come back with a big money bid for Bruno. Like, he'll still be worth a lot in a year to a Saudi club. And so don't sleep on that. But for a year, I think to help this transition, I think it's not the worst thing. It was one of the options, so it is what it is. But yes, like you're saying, that 100 million was pretty tempting at the time. It could have gone a long way. Although, judging by how long it took for this Embuemo stuff to get over the line, who knows if we would have actually spent it. So I don't know, man. Mark Harris says Amorim plays 5 at the back and is happy with Onana. Go figure. I mean, who knows? It's not easy just to get rid of players if nobody wants. Remember, Onana has been injured for this summer as well, so no one's going to buy an injured goalkeeper. And we have to get a certain amount for Onana, or we take a loss PSR-wise. So there's a lot of reasons Onana's still here. I don't know if people expect managers to come out and bash their own players, even if they don't want them. I've never seen managers do that unless their name is Mourinho. But so managers are going to play the game. I'm sure that Amorim would take a better keeper. You guys know that was one of my priorities going into the summer, was upgrade on keeper. I wanted us to go snatch Andre Lunin. I will take Sen Lamens as well. I do think he's probably one of the best up-and-coming keepers right now. We've done a lot of scouting reports and deep dive looks at him too. But yeah, it is what it is. We are going to probably be stuck with Onana because nobody's going to buy him while he's injured. So I think people forgot about that. So PL Summer Series. West Ham won their game going into this, and I told you Bournemouth are shit. Which basically what that confirmed, though, is that we basically won this nonsense friendly mini tournament before it even started, basically. Cunha and Buma both started, and I liked what I saw from that interchange. It kind of had some shades of 07, 08 United, Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney, kind of dropping in different sides, deep, flowing a little bit of free range of movement there. I really liked it a lot. Dallo lined up on the left for that one as well. Really, it looked really good early on. Bruno played a really good, beautifully threaded pass to find Ahmad. Really, really good. Who does feed Cunha, who took that little shot, just trickled wide. So a really good kind of early flash of what we could see from that. A little different than what I expected to see. It was made a big counterattack. One ball cut through Everton, opened them up a little bit. Overall, though, it wasn't a great match, personally, performance-wise. I thought, obviously, it ended 2-2. I thought we were sloppy when it came to our passing, just overall. We were just making a lot of bad mistakes. We were telegraphing a lot of the passes we were going to make. It just seemed like we were just basically doing everything we could to tell Everton where we were going to pass that ball. A lot of people weren't on the same page. Ahmad was a bit sloppy. Yoro and him weren't quite on the same page a lot. Cunha, a bit sloppy as well. Which saw a lot of our passes get intercepted, get picked off. Ahmad just looked a little unsure of what his new role is going to be now with Mbumo in this side. Not saying he looked horrible, but it just seemed like Mbumo was doing a lot of the running that Ahmad was used to doing. We'll see what it goes. I mean, it's preseason. I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. So once more, we looked vulnerable on the break, especially when we lost possession high up the pitch, something that Amorim tried to really remedy early on when he got here, if you guys remember that. Recovery pace, recovering, rest defense, all of that stuff. And again, like I said earlier, these crosses into the box, they just look vulnerable every time. We've got 3 center backs, and somehow we look worse when balls get delivered into the box. I just don't get it. Nobody jumps, and we're giving the attackers way too much time to just pick pick their pass and just put it in the box. Dallow's got to do better at closing down the attacker on the ball. He is guilty of this for several years now, of just standing off. You have to go in and close the space down. Like, you just have to. It's so frustrating, man. Ugarte, absolute stinker of a second half. That was just one of the worst second halves I've ever seen from him. Constantly losing the ball, getting caught under pressure, and he's really showing to receive the ball in really bad situations. Like, you're under pressure, don't show for the ball, man. Don't drop deep and run back. It's just not going to end well. When you're running back towards your goal, facing your goal to receive a pass under pressure, it's only going to happen one way. All they got to do is a little tiny nudge to the back, and that ball is gone. You can't control it. And we see that happen with Højlund all the time. And Ugarte is just, I think the worst aspects of Ugarte's play were on display yesterday against Everton. So not a good half from him. I wonder what is going to happen. Obviously, I think we need to find someone who brings that physicality and that energy and that mentality, but also is press resistant, composed, and has a decent passing range on him as well. And Ugarte yet has shown me the latter, if that makes sense. So what a goal from Mason Mount, though. Almost a carbon copy of his goal in the Europa League last season, if you guys remember that one. Just take the ball, one touch, turns, puts it far post. I mean, he did almost literally the same exact thing he did in the Europa League. Would love it if he could stay fit. I think I've said it many times, a fit and firing Mount does help us a lot. I think he does. He just has to stay fit. Dorgu, I think, has been massive this summer. He might be this summer's preseason Pirlo. From what we saw from Dorgu, goal and assist the other night, physical. He got a little bit of a rest the other day too. But he could be massive for us this season. I said going into the summer, I need to see what Dorgu can do with the preseason. He is 20. He just joined in January, and he looks like he's just leveled up a couple times. So very good for him. I was bummed not to see Kone get a couple minutes again after that loan was canceled. So it was really frustrating. What do you guys have to say here? I'm going to get caught up here. Is he going to Hull? Lucky? That's cool. That's a good move for him. We knew that Collier might be going on a loan, and that could maybe free up a spot in midfield. So if that's true, that's awesome. That's a good move for him. I'd like to... Collier, I'm still on the fence about Collier. He was injured a lot last season. I do like his mentality. I do like his positioning. He does have some good awareness. But he just haven't seen enough of him, unfortunately. So, yeah, still no updates on Sesko or anything. So anyone wondering, we'll see what happens there. Nothing yet, though. So, Box, big up, Box. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Nuba says, for me, if United don't sign a new center midfielder, the best alternative is to move Mazraoui to center midfield. He is press-resistant, forward-passing, good tackler. Plus, I don't want Maz to compete with your right center back. Well, Mazraoui could also play wing back as well. It's good to have rotation. Leach is not going to be fit for a little bit, so there's room in there for them to play. And we haven't really seen anything from Mazraoui this summer, so there are options there too. So I don't know if I would start Shaw every week. I think Shaw is just filling in because injuries and whatnot. Heaven's got a couple minutes here and there. It's good to have some rotation. It's going to be up to the players now to pick the team. The players really have to perform. Remember, Mazraoui was bought for a different manager and a different system. He was bought to play right back, not center back. He's done decently right as center back. He does have a mistake in him now and then. I think he takes a little too many risks at the edge of his own box sometimes, and that he can get absolutely done by tricky, pacey wingers. We've seen that over and over again, but I like Mazraoui a lot. So Mark says, Cunha on a 5-year contract, United not learning on contracts. The Everton game was a kick in the gonads. The Everton match was not great, but we still won the trophy, I guess. So it is what it is. So Yorkshire Cowboy, welcome back. I'll admit it. Ruben Amorim has done nothing to give me confidence. Well, he's only been here about half a year, so I mean, he got to a Europa League final. That's something, right? So we'll see. I'm not going to say yay or nay just yet. The only thing I'll say is the same with any players. He deserves some time. He deserves at least a preseason, which he literally hasn't even gotten his first preseason yet. He deserves some backing with the squad in terms of letting players go and bringing players in. I think that's the bare minimum we could ask for any manager. And then time after that. You're not even going to know how any of this works with some time. So we'll see. Again, could be coming back by December and sitting in 15th, and we just be saying here, Amorim out. I don't know. We could be first at that point. Really couldn't tell you. Without these 8 extra games minimum of Champions League or Europa League, who knows what that could do for us. So we will see what happens. So what are you guys saying? Let me get Lucky's all over the place here. Agile says, I thought Bruno was awful in the game, minus the pen and the assist. I thought he played a really good ball into Ahmad early on when Cunha had that goal. But I think that, it's just, there's a lot of changes yesterday or the other day. We saw Cunha and Bumo starting together for the first time. Dallo on the left, where he hasn't played in a while as well. And so I think, and again, it's preseason, so I'm not going to worry too much. But Bruno was not as good yesterday or the other day as he was recently. Banny says, we saw the 3-5-2 early, or was Bruno being Bruno. It was a little of everything. I know there's a lot of talk going on, but it definitely was a little bit of everything. I think there was a little bit fluidity with Bruno, Cunha, and Mbumo, and I think that at times it was a 3-5-2, at times it was a 3-4-2-1. I think that shows that there isn't necessarily this rigid kind of structure in place. I think people get too focused on formations and they make that the same as system. It's not the same, and so hopefully it'll all start clicking, but we'll give it some time. Nubis says Ahmad role is Quenda's role at Sporting, left-footed right wing back. Difference is Quenda loves to take in his marker, have better successful take on than Ahmad. Quenda's first step in acceleration is mad. Yeah, I mean, they're different players. I think I've said many times I would have preferred us to promote Camison Montato over buying a player who's younger than those two in Giovanni Quenda, but he is playing first team football. So there's also Roger Fernandez out there. So there's players out there to choose. And I always forget about Quenda because isn't that another one Chelsea got? Chelsea. Oh, bless them. Bless their hearts. But yeah, Ahmad, he's definitely not the quickest. And so it really just depends on what you're looking for in that. And really depends on what Amorim is looking for. He's definitely a face inward winger, as I call them, and not a face forward winger. Your face inwards are going to be your Ahmads, your Sanchos. Your face forwards are going to be like your Elangas or your Rashfords, who are just going to kick the ball into space, get their head down, and run. Ahmad likes to face up to the defender. He likes to use a little bit of footwork, create space for himself, or he likes to pass inward and move. And so there's a little bit more tactical creativity to what Ahmad brings as well. But now with Mbumo in there and stuff, I think that it's Ahmad we probably see him. He does get the ball into the box a lot, Ahmad. He does get the ball to the byline. I'd like him to make that decision with that pass a little sooner than he does. He does tend to hold on to the ball a little too long sometimes in that final phase of attack. But I'm not going to complain too much. Ahmad has been one of our most exciting little players in the last couple of years. And I was there for that hat trick against Southampton with Justin in March. Or was it March? It was January. I can't remember now. So I'm not going to – Ahmad gets a pass for right now, for real. Yeah, Lucky. He's just – yeah. It's what happens when you're not just naturally kind of like this deep line holding, creative midfielder, and you are just a more physical guy. You look a little out of your depth sometimes. And so we saw it from McTominay sometimes too when he was tasked with that job. Fred even too. That's really who Ugarte reminded me of a little bit of against Everton was Fred. The way Fred looked just not comfortable receiving the ball under pressure in our own kind of just outside our box or whatever, and give it away a lot because it's just not his game. It just isn't. So really annoying, really frustrating to see. Agile says it was a 3-4-1-2, morph back and with 3-4-2-1, and it kept switching between the two depending on where Bruno was playing. Yeah, I think when you have players who are good and who can read the game and have good football IQ, I think you can trust them a little bit with that kind of stuff. And Bruno has been trusted with a little bit of a free role since we signed him, really. That guy pops up everywhere to just get on the ball and just make things happen, mostly because we just don't have quality around him for the last several years. But now maybe we'll see maybe he'll learn he doesn't have to be all things all the time. And we'll see what happens. But we kind of knew that he's going to be playing in that kind of creative midfield role for a while. Yeah, Box, I wouldn't put too much stock. Again, preseason is about fitness, learning the patterns, and maybe hopefully seeing some youngsters. And my priority for preseason, any friendly, is just no injuries. That's all I ask for is no injuries. So let me get caught up here. Well, Mark, that's a little extreme, dude. Rob, welcome back, man. Happy Sesko Day, United fans. Is it official yet? I haven't seen anything yet. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see anything yet. I'll be checking. You guys let me know if anything popped up while we're live. But What are you guys saying in the poll so far? 88% of you do think United are going to win this race for Sesko, and 12% of you say Newcastle. Don't see anything yet. So official bids are in. So we'll see what happens. Oh, we have some news here. Hold on one second here. Mike Keegan. So this is coming from Mike Keegan. Let me pop up on the screen here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. That you guys tell me what you think here. Good old Mike Keegan here. Pop. Stop. Just want to make sure we get all the news popping up as it's going here. So let me here, I'll put this on the screen for you guys. Can you guys see that? All right, so this just came out from, looks like Mike Keegan. United have rebuffed approaches from clubs in the Premier League and Italy for Harry Maguire. They have been told he is likely to extend his contract at Old Trafford, spend the rest of his career at the club. This is kind of what we were saying the other day, that it does seem like Maguire will probably just get another year extension, because next year, Shaw, who knows? Licha, who knows if he's going to be fit? Heaven, still young. Frederiksen, still young. Euro, De Ligt. That's pretty much the only two that are probably guaranteed, and then maybe Mizraoui. And so we do need Maguire. He's probably the one you're going to keep. And we said this going into the summer between Evans, Lindelof, and Maguire. Maguire's probably the one we're going to keep, and that ended up happening. So he did have a pretty good season. I mean, he's older, and he's not everyone's favorite, but he's not like he's horrible. People complain that he's slow. You're never going to make someone just be fast. That is what it is. He doesn't have to be super quick to be a good center back. It helps, and it really depends on the system. But my only issue with Maguire has always just been a little bit of a lack of mentality in terms of just being more assertive when defending our box and stuff. Like, I'd never see him really jump a whole lot, and when he does jump, he's back foot jumping. He's not really attacking those balls and stuff. And so I'd like to see more of that from him. Which is also why I didn't see him as a good captain. But it is what it is. Rob says, I prefer a more physical right wing back than Ahmad. Yeah, I mean, I do think we've done a couple of scouting reports on right wing backs as well. There are a lot of them out there. So it's hard, because obviously when we're linked to someone like Quenda, who is a little bit more of that attacking, that pacey, then I think we still got Comison. We still got Dallo. We've got Montato. Mizraoui can play there as well. Dorgu can go fill in there as well. That's why I said, like, we have players for all these positions. Now, they're not everyone's favorite players, but we have players, and so we have to still sell some. I've seen some people say that Anthony should get another shot on that right wing back spot. So it'll be up to Anthony to accept a rotation role in a role maybe he doesn't want to play, or to take a pay cut and go to Real Betis, dude. Let's see. Rob says Betis splashing cash, but not on Anthony. Yeah, we talked about that the other day. They just bought a midfielder from Liga MX as well. So yeah, they can plead poverty all they want to. It's just not gonna. I'm not having it. We can't afford to be that club that people take advantage of anymore. Jomo, welcome back, Jomo. Skybet odds on Sesko's next club. Interesting. Well, you guys still say it's that United are going to win the race. So we'll see what happens, though. I haven't seen any updates yet. I haven't gotten any here we go. So, of course, we'll be back if that happens. Box says, Betis are jokers. Come with a permanent deal over $30 million or don't bother. That's what we've been saying for weeks, man. They want to sit here and cry poverty when they've been selling players for big money. Like, if they want Anthony, come and get him. If Anthony wants to go play, take a pay cut, bro. It is what it is. Lucky says Matthias De Ligt, Harry Maguire will keep young players on their toes, stay assured. Well, for now, with everyone fit, for me, Maguire is like fifth choice. I even play Heaven ahead of Maguire just simply because I think Heaven offers more in those wide roles, and I definitely put De Ligt ahead of Maguire in that center role. But Maguire has shown, I think last year, he's definitely shown that he can do the job. He was massive for us against City, really did well against City. Obviously, brilliant in the Europa League. We can't forget Herodona. So I'm not going to complain too much. The guy just absolute boss this past season. So let me get this off the screen here. And too many tabs open. It looks like my wife's computer right now. She's got like 87 tabs open at any given time. It's ridiculous. Let me close this here. I get confused with all this stuff going on my screen at the same time. I can't handle it all. So Let me get this off the screen, Lucky. Fox says Chelsea need to bid 60 million for Garnacho or don't bother as well. Yeah, we were talking about that a little earlier. I'm not having this like with what Southampton are asking for Dibbling reportedly, which is like 40 plus 5. What Chelsea paid for Gittins, what they paid for Mudryk, what Newcastle paid for Elanga. Garnacho's got to be in there. So no, I'm right there with you, man. Fox said, rather offload Maguire and bring in Inacio next summer. Well, Maguire, if we don't get him another extension, he's going to leave for free. So it's not like we're never going to get anything from Maguire. He's going to go for free or he's going to retire here, basically, or someone will buy him in January for a couple million. That's literally the only options at this point. So we're never going to get any money. So none of that money is going to go towards anything really. I wouldn't say no to Inacio, but I don't think that going into the summer, center back was a big priority. I think you're seeing more and more of Fredrickson and Heaven getting minutes, both of whom look pretty good. Fredrickson, I think, has looked really good this summer, really adding that ball progression, that passing to his repertoire as well, which I really like with those runners with Mbumo, Ahmad. I think we're going to see that. If he just dials it in, gets a little better at it, I think he'll be fine. So he needs to bulk up a little bit, though, but I'm not going to worry too much about him. Nick says Harry should try a different league. He could. I mean, Harry could choose to go someplace else. If he's happy to be a rotation option, kind of like Evans and stuff, and come in maybe at key moments or take over or be ready and willing to go. I mean, he made some comments recently about just always being ready. So I don't have a problem with it personally. So the only thing you're going to do now is wages. But if we're talking about wages, there are many other players I'd rather see go ahead of Harry Maguire, Casemiro being one. So I'm not going to complain too much, but it is what it is. And I don't pick apart players too much for not taking a pay cut. We gave them the money, so it is what it is at that point. Debasti says, here we go, depends on add-ons, I think. Yeah, so Romano claims that the add-ons supposedly are very achievable, and he thinks that they are more like appearance-based when it comes to Sesko. Yeah, I read that he wasn't maybe showing up. That's interesting. Big up, Rob. I always appreciate you getting involved. Yes, please do hit those like button and subscribe, you guys, if you can for me. Hit the memberships to make sure that you don't miss out on ways you can get involved on the channel as well. Check out the UVE store. Plenty of new designs in the UVE store. You guys did just miss out on 20% off that ended on the weekend, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, go hit up that GoGoalShop code. Link in the description to get $5 off when you register at GoGoalShop using the code down there. Get caught up on this here. So I'm pretty much caught up. You guys are having a chat with yourself. So all that remains the rest of the summer is this friendly against Fiorentina this weekend, and what I imagine is going to be a very warm welcome for a certain David De Gea as he returns to Old Trafford for the first time in a couple of years. So I'm sure you guys will all be watching that. I'm sure I can't imagine the kind of reception that De Gea is going to get. I guess that like 50,000 tickets have already been sold for this thing, which is insane. It's going to be great to see De Gea back at Old Trafford. I know that it was mixed opinion towards the end. I know a lot of people like him. I know a lot of people will use just Onana's form to criticize the club for letting De Gea go. I think it has more to do with De Gea not being great with the ball at his feet than anything. Obviously, got the Golden Glove. I don't put the clean sheets solely down to the keeper. I think that's a horrible way to decide who's the best keeper. I think you really need to look at like shots saved, save percentage, that kind of stuff, because clean sheets can mean a lot of different things. But it is what it is. I love De Gea, excellent keeper. At his peak, he was probably the best shot stopper in Europe. So it'll be great to see him back. He never did any. He never steered the club wrong. People forget, he did maybe try to leave a little bit, but it is what it is. So it'll be fun to see him come back. Hopefully, what do you guys think? Will you guys give him a warm welcome? Do you not care? Let me know what your thoughts are on De Gea returning to the club. Mark says, does Amorim know Kone is available to play? Just give him a few games. Obviously too hard. Well, it's one of those things. If you're going to keep someone like Kone around, you really have to decide, is he going to get minutes or not? Because he's at an age where he probably needs to be getting first team minutes. And if he's not going to get enough here, then it's probably better for his development to go on loan. So it's just, again, it's just interesting to me, the dichotomy between like postponing that Lausanne Sport loan and then like not playing him. I'm like, well, what's the plan there? You guys know I do like Kone. He's a very good player. We've done a lot of coverage on the the youth team, the academy here. We've done some watch alongs and stuff. I did some scouting reports on a lot of these youngsters throughout the season as well. But we'll see. He's probably not going to be starting week in, week out. Cobby's not even ready to start week in, week out. So, but he does need minutes. So I hear you. Courtney French, welcome to the channel. Manchester United should put a sell-on clause for Garnacho, 50 million plus 30% sell-on clause and add-ons. 30%, that's a big one. That's it's less than the Greenwood one. That's like 50%. So, but yeah, if Chelsea come in with anything less than 50 million to start the bidding, then I wouldn't even answer the door. I would just let him sit on the front porch ringing that bell. Hopefully it's raining too. It's England, so it probably would be. So, Box says De Gea deserves a big reception. Dude, you know what I would really love, Box? If there was a tifo for Dave when he shows up. You guys remember that Arsenal game for, what was that, like 2017 or something, when he was just making saves left and right? Let's get a tifo for Dave. Let's get the whole movement going. Maybe we can get a hashtag for that. Tifo for Dave. Nuva says, I'll give De Gea a contract to sign and ask Fiorentina to take Onana back to Italy. Yeah, right. I think Onana could probably do well in Italy. I just don't see him going anywhere. He's injured still, so he's not going anywhere at the moment. Unfortunately, we're the only club that buys injured players, apparently. Amorim had some interesting comments on his future. This is what he had to say. I don't know if you guys saw this. He said, "My ambition is to remain at United for the next 20 years. Genuinely believe in that. It's my objective. I understand I spent a lot of goodwill last season, but I know it's time to look ahead. Now it's time to look ahead." So what are your thoughts? It was kind of a fun kind of jest joke comment. It wasn't like, I want to be for it. It was just like, it was made in all in good fun. So I'm going to put that out there fully. But what it did get me thinking about, and maybe this is something that Dylan and I can talk about a little more on tomorrow's Kickabout show. Don't forget to come back for that tomorrow. It just got me thinking about tenures at clubs for managers, long-serving managers. We don't see a whole lot of managers who are at clubs for a long time. I think Pep is probably the one that's been there the longest now. Klopp's gone. Before that, it was like Wenger and then like Ferguson, right? We just don't see it that often. Managers are moving all over the place, which I guess is a new feature now in FC 26. There's going to be a manager transfer market in career mode for anyone out there. And they're doing caretaker managers now too. So anyone who does career mode like I do. So again, it was a joke comment, but it got me thinking, where do people stand on long-serving managers? What's your cutoff when it comes to being convinced or he's not the guy for me? What would convince you? What would it take for you to back a manager for years, for 20 years, like Ferguson? Even if there's a stumble here and there, even if we get scary time, like maybe last year, what would that look like for you? What would make you want to trust the manager? Is it just to take each year as it comes, and then if it gets to the point where it's no good anymore, then you drop him? Like, you guys let me know. It just got me thinking, the comments. So while they weren't super serious comments, it got me thinking. I always wonder where people stand on that kind of stuff. So let me get caught up here. Box says, there can't be many players who played more professional games for United than David De Gea. Yeah, he was here for a minute. He definitely was here for a minute. So who else would be up there? You got to go back to like class of 92 and stuff to find players like that. Shaw's been here 10 years, but he's only been fit for half of that. So Bruno's probably, surprisingly enough, Bruno's probably getting up there because he's only missed 3 games for United in the 6 years he's been here. So that's insane. Maguire probably up there as well, because really up until like last year, he was playing pretty regularly. So it's interesting. I'll have to go back and look at some of the all-time appearances for United. Giggsy's up there, Neville, Scholesy, these guys are all going to be up there. So, Rich, welcome back, Rich. Hope you're doing well. Yes, we'll see. I haven't seen any other updates other than the fact that we put in the bid. Have there been any here we goes or anything? You guys know if there are, we will always come back and get your reactions to there. So, the biggest update we've got today, aside from that, is that clubs in the Premier League, clubs in Italy want Harry Maguire, and United have rebuffed those approaches. Looks like they're probably going to extend his contract for another year as well. And reportedly he wants to retire basically at United, which it is what it is. Let me see. Tabasa says, you have gray hair popped up on that guy. Rob says, I really hope Amorim is a success and has a lengthy reign. We hope that for any manager, right? I mean, you want managers to do well. You want players to do well. My question is, what is for you, like, what does it take for you to be convinced that a manager, is it just let's take it 1 year at a time? How many years go by without doing anything before you say, no, he's not the guy, Arteta? I don't know. Everybody's going to feel a little differently. Some people are just kind of like players. Like, a player may not have good numbers, but some people they watch the eye test and they're like, no, he's good. Just give him time. Is that the same for a manager? Do you see potential? Is a young manager kind of like a young player where you're willing to kind of make them part of the project as well? Like, what do you think it's going to take? Are there really any such things as 20-year managers anymore? I mean, is that even a thing? Probably not. Rich says, I think Amorim gets well back by the people above him. This season might be the toughest if we start slowly. He can't afford. He's getting to a point now where we basically bought goals. I don't mean iffy on Sesko, but with Cunha and Mbuma, we have bought goals. Defense is still a little rough when it comes to defending those balls into the box. Midfield still needs a lot of help. I mean, there's only so much you can do against like these incisive passes or these long balls. I mean, obviously you can't fly in the air, but we do need to be better at putting pressure on the ball. The defense, the structure needs to be better at defending that. And defensively, we've got like Dallow's got to put pressure on the ball. It's just things like that are less system oriented and more individual player like mentality oriented is the problem. And Dallow's been guilty of this for years. Shaw just sometimes looks like he spaces out a little bit. So some of that just needs to do better, man. Bach says, if Amorim's still here by 2026, it'll be a success. I mean, he knows that he's got work cut out for him. He knows that he's got to do better. He said it. We know it. It's one of those things like we don't have to keep reminding him. He knows it. We know it's understood. We can't finish 15th again. You cannot. I don't think we're going to get top 4. I would be surprised if we got any silverware. I'd like to see us make a strong push for some silverware. But at the end of the day, the rebuild is more about just that, the rebuild. It's going to take time, and it's going to be squad focused and not success focused. I will take success, but I'm not going to be heartbroken if it's another year or so before we see the fruits of this, because anybody expecting more than that from the first time properly doing a rebuild, you might be in for disappointment. So Agile says he needs to bump up to his 38% win percentage if he's going to be here for 20 years. I mean, Arteta's literally not won anything besides an FA Cup with players that weren't even his. It's literally nothing since. If people want to say they're challenging for the league, cool, awesome. Put that on a trophy and put it in the trophy cabinet if that's where your standards are, I guess. But we'll see. I mean, Amorim got to a final. When's the last final Arteta got to? Like, can someone let me know? Like, that's why I'm just saying. If we're going to talk about not winning something, I mean, Amorim did basically the same thing Arteta has done. So it is what it is. Box says De Gea's got 545 games, 7th. Yeah, big up Dave, man. Dave saves. Let's see. Rob says Matt Target has been marked as safe. Yeah, we've rattled Newcastle. They're pulling a home alone with their players and leaving them in South Korea, man. Someone needs to Photoshop Matt Target on a Home Alone poster with South Korea in the background, because that shit's messed up. Rich says, if Arteta gets sacked, Arsenal might get worse, hopefully. I mean, I'm telling you, man, Arsenal fans aren't ready for that conversation. I've been saying it for the last couple of years. They just aren't ready to have that chat about Arteta. They just don't want to admit. It's always trust the process, man. I don't know how many whiteboards that guy can go through before he finally has that hard conversation. Nubis says, progress, clear system, promoting youth, make the best of each players. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. And not every manager is just naturally able to get blood from a stone when it comes to players. How many managers in football are going to go win you a Champions League with Anderson in midfield? No offense to Anderson. I'm just saying, like, using it as an example, like, how many? I mean, Liverpool couldn't win the league with, Slippy G in midfield, and he's supposedly one of their best players ever. So it's not easy. It's just not easy. And defending a title is even harder, and winning it multiple times is even harder. People underestimate that, because I think football has changed so much in recent years, and City have done what they've done, asterisk quotation marks. I think people are just not realizing, just when you do things properly, that, and the money isn't crazy like it is today, that it's not an easy task. People like to think we spent money. Like, we weren't the top spenders in Fergie's era. Like, we weren't. Arsenal were constantly spending more than us. Other teams are spending more than us. People say, well, Ferguson got in the ref's head. Arsenal scored more stoppage time winners goals than we did back in those days too. People forget about that kind of stuff. I think people have little fuzzy memories sometimes. Let's see what we're doing here. I want to get caught. You guys are chatting with each other, so I'll let you guys chat here. Rob says, you're forgetting the 2 epic community shields, Sean. We might have to do a debate one of these days where we'll talk about the community shield and how much people rate it. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, is this Jose? Are you Jose's burner account, Rob? Is that what that is? Ripple Effect, welcome to the channel. Diego Simeone have been staying for. Yeah, forget about Simeone. I was talking more about England, but yeah, Simeone's been there a minute. I thought he would have been gone the last couple of years. I think Atletico, I mean, he's done well. Without Simeone, I don't know how well Atletico Madrid do personally, but we'll see. And oddly enough, I did a video in the spring before we had 2 springs ago, before we had Amorim, and I had him as one of my options to replace Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid back then. So interesting stuff, but good shout. Yeah, Simeone. Forgot about that. Yeah, Box. This is why you can never, it's never just down to one thing when you make an argument. Because you make one argument and it's like, well, he's got more trophies. So again, that means that, if you're going to go by trophies, then that automatically means Anderson's better than Steven Gerrard. Like, you can't isolate your argument to one kind of point. You got to be a little bit more open-minded in that. But it is funny. That's something we can always say. Like, I love that we can I might put that on a shirt. You guys let me know if I should put that as a new design on a shirt. Anderson 1, Gerrard 0. I might do that and maybe put Gerrard slipping. Who knows? Edge says he can only run with his insights about Ederson and flashbulbs for so many halftime tea talks before everybody realized it's just weird. Who are we talking about there? Interesting. Rob says Brendan Rodgers has been stuck in Scotland for a while. Yeah, when is he at Leicester? Because they won the FA Cup, right? When was that? Was that 2020? 2020? I don't remember. When did Leicester win the FA Cup last? I can't remember. Somebody remind me. Box says Anderson did pocket Gerrard. I mean, the friggin' turf pocketed Gerrard. Oh, the people just want to give Gerrard too much credit, man, because he could pick a pass, dude. F that, dude. So, yeah, no other updates here on Sesko or anything. 90% of you guys think that United are going to win the Sesko race. So it's interesting stuff. It's going to be a fun couple days. It seems like we did prioritize the attack pretty heavily this summer. And so addressing that lack of goals seemed to be the big focus. So we'll see if it translates on the pitch. I still think we need a midfielder. I hope that we haven't spent so much on Sesko, for instance, that we can completely neglect the midfield. It sounds like, according to Lucky, Collier might probably going on loan, so maybe that frees up some space. Maybe we go for someone like a Hackney or somebody. I don't know. It wouldn't cost a lot, but let me know what you guys think. Box says, remember Gerrard last game? I do remember that. Liverpool fans like to think they've got banter now, but like some of their best players that they argue are the best were just awful. Like Gerrard's just not good, man. Sadak Rahman, welcome to the channel. I'd love to see that with Steven Gerrard. Yes, I will look into it, see what I can find. Edge says we're 6th place in odds to win the title. Thoughts? Are we really 6th place in odds? Are they just going by money spent? Probably. I think sometimes the odds, the bookies, and really the odds is just the way people are betting. And so it is what it is. Maybe the fans just think, we've spent money, or they rate Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko so highly that that's shifting things. So again, betting and odds and stuff are like market, like the consumer market. Really, it's another way to say human behavior. And so human behavior dictates like the housing market. Human behavior dictates like the betting situation. And so what that says is people are betting certain ways. So interesting enough, though, you guys let me know what your thoughts are on Sesko on this bid. Was it too much? Will it get it over the line? Are you happy with Sesko? Would he have been your first choice? Or do you worry about other positions that we needed to strengthen this summer? Do you think that's the end of our business? I know every single time we get an update, it seems like it leads to more questions and answers, but that's why we're here. We ask the tough questions. We want to get your thoughts and your opinions on things. And so let me know in the comments if you guys weren't able to catch the live. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go take care of a few things around the house. And until then, obviously, if there's any big updates, I will be back. Go check out yesterday's center midfielder scouting report special. If you haven't yet, I saved the best one for last. You guys let me know your thoughts. Don't forget tomorrow, Wednesday Kickabout with Dylan, 6 o'clock my time. Not sure where that is for you, but be here for that to get involved as Dylan and I recap just the last week and everything and talk about everything, including some of the stuff we talked about tonight. Probably a lot to do with managers and stuff and tenures. So thank everybody for stopping by today and getting involved. Always great to have a good conversation with everybody. Enjoy your day. Like the video, subscribe, please. Check the memberships to learn how you guys can get more involved in the channel. Again, Legends members, you can jump on for a hot second on the weekly Kickabout, but that's only for Legends members. So check that out as well. Until then, you guys, take it easy. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you on the next one.